received after last night?
Certainly appeared that way. Yeah, they came out with a little bit more urgency tonight, which was good. Special day, with the 81 team being here, a lot of great alums, and the last team to win a national title here. Them being present just kind of drives home the point where we want to get to at some point, and why not us? So, but we understand we're going to have to play a little bit better than we did yesterday, and they came out and responded very well today. So even when we gave up the 4-run fifth, we bounced back in the sixth and put up the 3 spot of our own. So guys stepped up. It was a good win for us, and obviously we're in position to take a series against a pretty dang good team tomorrow.
By game's end, Oregon had about 10 hits, but Kyle Luckham, 7 innings, 0 walks. He basically just answered what you wanted after a game like last night where you guys had 10 walks total.
Yeah, I mean, he's if you don't beat yourself, you give your team a chance to win, and he didn't walk anybody and didn't hit anybody, so and we didn't make any errors, behind him. So when you do that, recipe for giving your team a chance to win. He worked with really good tempo for the most part. He got into a little trouble there in the fifth, and made, he's kicking himself for making a couple of not great 0-2 pitches that he was trying to get off the plate and left over the plate and got hit and gave up a couple of hits that he shouldn't have. But he settled in, tried to keep it somewhat small, and then bounced back in the sixth and seventh. So give us 7 innings and keep us in the game like that, you're doing your job. He's been outstanding all year at doing that.
Coach, you had another good performance from Joe Lampe, extended his hitting streak to 20 games. I asked him this very question, but what have you seen from him just as far as his development from when you've had him up to now, as far as his approach or really anything, because he's really become a key guy in your guys' starting lineup?
Lampe is a guy that just battles and grinds. He doesn't have, and I mean this respectfully, he doesn't have the prettiest swing in the world. He just, he goes up and competes, and sometimes when he gets in trouble, he's hitting a lot of rollovers to first and second, but when he stays up the middle, he's got a chance to be a pretty dang good hitter. I mean, he is a good hitter, but he's got a chance to be really good. He's gotten more rhythm in his swing, and when he uses his backside, he gets some decent power too. So it's just a matter of him learning and developing as an overall player, but from an offensive standpoint, just continuing to recognize pitches and understanding what pitches he can handle and what pitches he needs to foul off and try and get another one. The home run came with 2 strikes, battled off 2 or 3 really tough borderline pitches to get himself one that he can handle, and didn't miss that one. So that's just him maturing as a hitter and becoming a better player.
I believe he's eligible for the draft after this year, if I'm not mistaken. Have you had that conversation with him yet about coming back or going to the draft and that whole thing?
I pretty much know where that one's going. So if I had, much as I would love to have Joe Lampe back, it would be a Christmas present if I got him back, but I don't think that's going to happen. He's too good. He would make any organization better. So I don't see him. I don't anticipate having him back. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We still got work to do here, and he's not thinking about it. I know that much. He goes out and competes and plays hard every time out, and that's why he's such a special player. He gives everything he has every day, and comes ready to play every day. So he's got a motor that doesn't turn off, and that's why he is who he is.
How do you, as a manager, kind of try to? Joe was also talking about how you talk a lot about kind of the history and the tradition of this program, and obviously, you were a big part of that. How much do you kind of prioritize, making sure the players understand that without trying to take away from what you're going through on a game-to-game basis?
I think it's important that they understand that they're playing for the guys that were here before them, and if you don't understand that, then you ought to look in the mirror, look on the banners out there, because they're the ones that made this place so special. And if you can't understand that, then you don't really understand Arizona State. For me, it's not taken away from anything they're doing. It's just a matter of, hey man, you're playing for the name on the front of the jersey, and that's what this program is about. Those guys before us have built a heck of a legacy and a heck of a tradition, And we need to understand and uphold that. And if you don't like the pressure of having to win and carry on the torch, if you will, then maybe this isn't the place for you. So that's why I took on this job, because I understand that you have to, the expectations should be high. They set the bar high. And we as a program aspire to be, at the top of the country. And obviously we got a ways to go, but those guys expected, all the guys before us expected, and it's great to have them around just to remind us that, man, this is a proud history and we got to uphold it.
You've talked a lot about how much that history and tradition means to you personally. Is it a little special for you at all to have a game like this where you honor the 81 team beforehand? A guy with the last name Murphy gets the go-ahead RBI, and then a guy who's named after Jim Brock gets the save. Yeah,
it kind of was. Baseball's kind of poetic like that from time to time. Yeah, pretty special. I didn't really put the 2 and 2 together with the Murphy, but I did on the number 33 closing out the game. I thought that was pretty neat. Kind of got a little emotional for a second, because it's just, man, that's only baseball can do that. And anybody that knows baseball and been around it long enough knows that, man, there's divine intervention all around us in this game, and that to me is like, it's fitting that it ends that way. So very cool. I was proud that Brock finished it out, and I think number 33 is probably looking down smiling today. So it's a pretty special day.
Coach, we talked in sort of the off season about your approach to recruiting, sort of the arc, the kinds of things that you were picking up and learning about that whole process. And this past week, you pick up a huge recruit in Tamar Johnson, as well as his brother coming over and transferring from Georgia Tech. What really went into that recruit and, picking up such an endorsement from that kind of player?
Tamar is obviously a very special talent. He's had everybody in the country on him. And I'm just going to be honest with you, I didn't even try. Like, as far as I don't mean that arrogant, I didn't try because I didn't think there was any chance of getting him. And so when, through a third party, he kind of reached out to us and said, hey, I have interest in Arizona State. I was almost embarrassed because I'm like, I didn't even reach out to the kid because I figured I was so late in the game that I wouldn't have a chance at him. But he wanted to come and visit our campus. And what a tremendous individual that his mom Kim has really raised 3 tremendous boys, and he's a great kid on and off the field. One of the everybody that I talked to is probably the most talented hitter at the amateur level that they've seen. But we were just real with him. I think at the end of the day, we told him, hey, if you come here, we're going to make you better. We're not going to kiss your fanny and schmooze you. We're going to yell at you. We're going to get you better, because that's our job. If we're not doing that, we're not doing our job. So, but I think that factored in with the culture, the history of this place, the weather, the facilities, all that stuff factored into his ultimately wanting to come here. But for our program, obviously, if he makes it on campus, we'd be ecstatic. We know that's probably a long shot, but I think it's just a big win for the program as a whole, to have his name attached to us, and to the many other great ones before him that never made it on campus. But who knows? He's a very smart kid. He's a 4.3 student, so he's very academically oriented. So you never know. And I think all I know is if he does go to college, it's going to be here, which hey, I'll take my chances. If you were to tell me we're going to get Tamar Johnson committed here, and there's a slim chance, I'll take slim over none any day of the week with him. So, but tremendous kid, tremendous family, and we're happy to have not only him, but his brother and his entire family part of our Sun Devil family.
At this stage in the season, what is the biggest thing that you have really picked up in your first year as head coach here? It's been an up and down season, but right now you guys are in good position to be in the Pac-12 tournament, and then anything can happen from that point. And so just kind of reflecting on everything that's happened thus far, how do you sort of put that into perspective?
I think you realize you're this far from the top and that far from the bottom. I mean, you're really close to being really good, and you're really close to being really bad. And it's the difference between us having 35 wins right now is tiny. You know, how many one-run games or close games did we, you know, drop early in the season that, you know, arguably we should have won. I think we replay those games at this time of the year, we win those games, but we just have to figure out who we were and our identity. But I think a biggest takeaway that I've learned from this year is just that you got to keep believing no matter what, because you're really, really close to being really good. And I think our conference is, you don't need to look any further than checking out our conference and how one weekend shifts to the next weekend, where teams are beating everybody up, and it's like, man, those guys kicked our teeth in last week, and now they go over here and last place team sweeps them. It's so bizarre. So I think from that standpoint, you're never far out of it, but can never get too comfortable either.
And as far as the starter for tomorrow's Tyler Meyer get the ball? Does Vanderkoy get it? What is that looking like for the opener?
Boyd's sick, so we've kept him out of the clubhouse this weekend, hoping to get him better. There's kind of been a little virus going around with a few guys that we've kind of, if they get it, we're trying to get them out of here so it doesn't spread. It's not COVID. Just gotta make that clear.
Good.
But yeah, Tyler Meyer will get the ball tomorrow. You know, it kind of how the weekend worked out. We had planned on kind of piggybacking Tully yesterday with Meyer, but we felt a little bit, would have been a little reckless to throw Tyler in there in that type of game yesterday, so we'll save him for today or for tomorrow. So it actually lines out pretty good for us. So give him the ball and let him go to work and go from there.
Is there a particular pitch count or expectation that Tyler's on tomorrow?
You know, we're not gonna get him up in the higher pitch count that he was earlier. We're still trying to kind of keep his health into consideration and stretch him out. You know, I don't think he's ready for a full-blown 110 pitch start, but we'll monitor him and see how he does. I think you know, if we could get four, maybe 5 innings out of him, I would be ecstatic. So he's certainly capable of doing that, which I'm anxious to see. But we'll see how he does tomorrow. I'm confident in him.
Is Pivaroff your new first baseman?
No, I'm glad he made the catch to end it. Never a dull moment. It's always hold your breath. But you know, we had Connor was really laboring there, so I needed to get him out, which you know, it's unfortunate, but we'll adjust and hopefully he'll be okay by tomorrow. But hopefully.
You still know if he's okay? Would you put him back at first tomorrow?
I wouldn't put Connor at first tomorrow if he's okay to play. And you know, tomorrow's going to be an emotional day for him and for a lot of us. Being senior day, it'll be his last home game. That guy's given his heart and soul to the program. And you know, I've only known Connor for a year, but I mean, I couldn't ask for a better leader, a better kid in the clubhouse, somebody that just cares as much as he does day in and day out. So it'll, you know, probably be a little emotional for me as well. And I've only known the kid a year, which you know, he's just a special kid, and they're all special in there, but especially him. He's with the leadership that he has and how much he cares about wanting to do well for this program. It'll be kind of a bittersweet day tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.